He's so wimpy. You gotta stay here with me. You gotta stay here with me for a little bit. You gotta stay right here with me just for a little bit. I don't want you going in there and waking your mom up from her nap. There's no need. There's no need for that, sir. Sir and sir. Gee, you're such a goof. You're so goofy. Goofifi. That's your middle name, Goofifi. Gendema. Ni hao ma. Hingao Xingren Sheni. Stay woke. Wo shi mig wo ren. A wizard is never late, nor is he early. A wizard arrives precisely when he needs to. Oh, we got a co-stream? I don't know when we're gonna go. Ugh. In the moonlight. Sunlight. It's latency. Well, we can't abide latency. Tomorrow's Friday, right? I think tomorrow marks one more week for me before I get a break, which is nice. I think Amelia and I are going to try and hit the beach. Seeing as it's still hotter than shit here, I think we might hit the beach. I think it might be time to hit the old beacherino. The old beacheroony. I smoke 2 joints in the morning. I don't know how much I smoked today, bro. I ain't tracking that shit. Because unlike you, I don't worry about it. I got plenty of things to worry about. My weed consumption can wait. My weed consumption can just be a thing. Anybody hate meetings? I hate meetings. They're entirely necessary, but I fucking can't stand them. Hate a meeting. It's one of the downsides of the job. You gotta meet, gotta make plans, gotta make arrangements, gotta make decisions, gotta come to a consensus. Life would be so much better if I was just the emperor of the known universe. The Padishah Emperor. Shaddam the Fourth. Excuse me. What? Did you fart? What are you excusing yourself for, sir? Say what you mean. Mean what you say. If you say excuse me like that, it leads me to believe that you indeed have farted. That's really the only thing I would require you to excuse, you see. Oh no! Can't drop the fucking ponytail thing before you even have the ponytail. Whew. What's this live for? Let me show you right now, okay? It's a great question. This live is for yeah? We cool now? Everybody on the same page? Nobody behind the 8-ball wondering what's what? You're lost. You gotta be escorted out then. That's just the way it works. You gotta fucking go. 10K club, I know. Yippity skippity fucking doo-dang lippity. The fuck is a drop bear? They're called koalas, dude. Better put some respect on their name. Shut up. Don't ask me about tilapia ever again. No, I don't know. I really have no thoughts on tilapia, dude. What the fuck? What kind of question is that, bro? Yeah. Raw cones or whatever. We keep a steady supply. Paul buys the mega pack of cones. Why would I buy the fucking 5-pack, bro? I blow through that in an hour. $750. Shit, bro. That's the 3 nights in a shitty hotel. That's what? Food for maybe a month? If you don't have any kids. Damn. Taking care of our people, huh? Dude, as down bad as I am, I can't be as down bad as a motherfucker who's like the 90th person to say Thor to me. Like, no matter how down bad I could be, I can't be that down bad, bro. That's like bottom of the barrel YouTube shit, bro. But best of luck to you. Hope you get back up again. 'Cause that's low. Yeah. Lots of extra time, dude. Lots of free time spent in here making alts and coming back. Bro. Yeah, lonesomeness. That makes it kind of sad, bro. What? What? What is it? What are you trying to alert me to? What was that? What was that, boy? Timmy fell down the well and has a compound fracture of the lower tibia? Oh no! Oh no! Well, you think the NBA, NFA collude with gambling companies to rig some games? Yes. Yes. I think the NBA has been rigged for a long time. I think the NFL is rigged as well. It's all the work. It's a work. Dude, I could really spook you guys with this angle. I could have somebody like put a hideous mask on and just like pop up over this shoulder, just like, and then you guys be like, what the fuck was that? I'll be like, what? Dude, I could get you guys good with this angle, bro. I could spook you guys. Just like a gangly hand comes up back there, just like starts reaching for me. What if it like gangly hand comes up and then it starts to reach for me and then it stops and then it points right at you? It's like, spook you up, bro. Sports entertainment. Football's pretty hard to rig, man. Nah, I'm not saying rig the entire thing. I'm saying you put your thumb on the scale at key moments and ensure certain outcomes. But I'm just a Raiders fan. I watched the NFL invent a rule so that Tom Brady could get his Super Bowl run that year. You guys ever heard of the tuck? Yeah, I was watching live when the tuck was invented by the NFL so that Tom Brady's unbroken streak of runs to the Super Bowl could stay intact. Yep. NFL legit just made up a Brady must win rule and instituted it. And there was that. Seen the clip, it's hilarious. It's totally hilarious. In every fucking instance, it's a sack. Except for when there's a, hey, look, there's a lot of advertisers behind the Pates. A lot of advertisers. Raiders, not so much. Raiders got to lose. Raiders refused. NFL legitimately invented a rule to undo a sack on 4th down so that Brady could throw a bomb. Air went out. And he did. Oops. That was the first year that they won the Super Bowl, though. Then that was the start of the plan. This is our dynasty boy. He's going to win the next 5 Super Bowls. The Raiders got to lose today. Sorry, there's a new rule. Now when Tom Brady gets hit when the ball's still in his possession, it's the tuck, and you call it just a down. You don't call it a fumble. You call it a down. Okay? It's the tuck. Okay? The tuck. Is this tuck forbidden before? No, it was just a magical rule that they invented that let Tom Brady get down at the point of contact rather than losing the ball and losing the game. Yeah. He got sacked right before he threw the ball. Ball popped out. Raiders picked it up and ran it back. Flag on the play. Tons and tons of back and forth conferencing. And then the fucking guy says quarterback was in the tuck. Nobody'd ever heard it. In the tuck meant he was gonna throw it. I don't fucking know, bro. They literally just invented a rule and invented a term for it so that Tom Brady would get it down and get another chance to air one out into the end zone, and he got it. No. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, technically, like, I'm sure that there are, like, federal gambling agencies and shit. Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms would probably be interested in a game rigging scheme, but who knows? They've got enough money to pay all those people off anyway, right? One of the things that I've learned is that you can't really functionally trust anything that you see, especially not now, but even going back 20, 30 years. I mean, this idea that we can create reality and present it as fact has been around longer than I have. Way longer than I have. So, you know, if you really want to tear it down, there's very little real about anything. It was the ball going for right, but it hadn't left his possession. He was in the he was in what they now call the tuck. And he was moving forward to throw the ball, and he got hit before the ball ever left his hand. So it wasn't like he threw it and then got hit halfway, you know, no. The ball never left his possession. He got hit. We call that a sack and a fumble. They called it an intentional grounding. A legal grounding. Sorry. 1 to 10, how would you rate the quality of the weed you're smoking right now? I'm in California, bro. Does that help? It's a 10. If there's a 10, it's a 10. Like, I smoke nothing but gas. I can't even get shit weed. If I wanted to get shit weed, I couldn't even find it. Finkel is Einhorn. Vinatieri still had to make a 40-yard field goal in a blizzard for the Pats to win. Yeah. A kick that he never should have had the opportunity to have because it was Raiders ball, first down. But yeah, you got a good point. I know. I lived in Texas for 2 years and a little bit of change. And I know the weed is ass. I was there. Like, how do you win at football? What do you mean? Oh man, yeah, okay, all right. So football, the teams line up on the 20-yard line, right? It's a coin flip who gets to possess the ball and who gets to fucking defend, right? The teams line up. Quarterback hikes the ball. That means the play is live. That means everybody's trying to sack the quarterback and stop what he's gonna do. Quarterback runs back and passes the ball or hands it off, right? And basically you have to keep going until you get a first down, right? And a first down, it happens every 10 yards. So if it's first down, hike, pass the ball to your running back or your tight end or whatever, he takes it up the gut and you get 5 yards. Now it's second down, right? Second down, and now you got 5 yards to go. If the other team defends and holds you before you make that 5 yards, you've got to kick it. Or you try for it on fourth down, which hardly ever happens. And if you don't get anywhere, the team takes over right there, close to their end zone. So the other team takes over right there. So that's the game. That's basically the game. So you get 6 points for a touchdown. That means you get the ball into the opposing end zone by passing it or having somebody run into it with the ball from your team, right? That gets you 6 points. You get an automatic try at an extra point in the form of a kick. So 7 points typically is what you presume per touchdown, right? Team with the most points at the end of play wins. It's a pretty simple game, honestly. The basics are pretty simple. You know, you don't need to understand much to enjoy it. It's a game that a bunch of drunk people enjoy on the weekly, so it can't be too complex. Tomat's going in your bathroom. Sick. That's where he likes to be, where the fertilizer is, you know. You think the NFL will be around for the next 30 years? I don't know, man. I feel like, baseball used to be this like crazy popular thing, and now it's just kind of died. I mean, there's still a lot of baseball fans, but nowhere near. It's no longer like America's pastime. That'd be like football now, probably. And I feel like football has been struggling these last few seasons to get any kind of hype out of anybody. There's always going to be fanatics. There's always going to be those hometown people, and the Super Bowl is always going to be a giant deal. Or at the very least, still is. But as far as like attendance at games and stuff, it's pretty bad in comparison to just like a decade ago. So I don't know. Yeah, Republicans started ditching it. They got butt hurt. Remember when they like some players started politicizing kneeling during the national anthem or whatever, and a lot of Republicans legitimately just refuse to watch it now, like hardcore Trump America First type people. They just refuse to watch football anymore. They just gave it up. And it shows. Like, but even before all that, like it was declining in popularity. I'm really glad I got to go see a football game during, maybe the beginning of the decline when it was still pretty high. I got to see a few football games when emotions were high and it was still, maybe the number one thing in America sports wise. Now I don't really know what. I do feel like sports are getting de-incentivized year by year. Like the amount of people that are genuinely into them is less and less. The amount of people like identifying openly as sports fans and wearing sports gear seems to have gone down by quite a bit, you know? So XFL was coming back, but now Vince is cooked. Yeah, Vince is beyond fucking cooked. I was watching the Vince McMahon documentary that came out recently on Netflix. Vince McMahon, the guy that kind of like created the modern WWE. And there was this one like piece of news footage that really like was perfect. And it was just old footage of them interviewing like somebody from the WWF, interviewing a kid in the audience and asking him about wrestling and what he liked about it, right? Just like PR stuff. And they walk up with this little black kid and they ask him like, can you tell me a wrestler that you really don't like? And the kid looks confused. He's kind of like, you can almost see on his face, like, I like them all. I like it all. It's fun. But he's got an older brother there, right? And his older brother is like, the Sheik, man, the Sheik. And the little kid goes, oh yeah, the Sheik. And the interviewer guy goes, what don't you like about the Sheik? And the little kid looks confused again. He's like, and his older brother bends down. He goes, because he's from another country, man. He's like, yeah, he from another country. It's like, aw, aw, don't do that. Man, he's such a sweet kid. Don't do that. It's a wild clip, bro. It's like from the 80s or, you know, early 90s maybe. It looked like the 80s to me. Poor little sponge, I know. Paul, do you think choose your own adventure style entertainment we have in social media is supplanting legacy media in sports? Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just getting huger and huger every year, and people are trying to pretend like it's still like, you know, not everybody's using the same medium to engage in. It's still quite stratified across platforms. Like, there are people that just swear up and down by Reddit. That's all they do. There are people that are just YouTube junkies. That's all they do. You know, so it's still stratified. There's still like quite a few outlets you can go to get that kind of entertainment. But yeah, I mean, it became clear long ago that the dominant form of entertainment media was online content. Do you like Dark Side of the Ring? I've only seen a couple of episodes of it, but I do like it, yeah. I liked both the episodes I've seen, so. Russia's trying to ban Discord. Yeah, well, sucks to be Russia. Concerts and sporting events have officially become something only the 1% can go to. Now, I don't know about that, but they are expensive as fuck. Like, I'm priced out of it, like, well priced out, dude. I wanted to, Post Malone was playing. We went to Vegas to do a fan meetup. And we were there for 3 or 4 days. And Post Malone was in town while I was there. And I was like, fuck, let's go see Posty. Looked at tickets, dude, nosebleeds were $7.50 a pop. We're talking like, hope you brought a pair of binoculars seats in the fucking Raiders arena there. $7.50 a pop, bro. I felt kind of like cheated, honestly. Like, if I was, I don't know how I would do it, man. If I was that kind of person, like, I don't think I could charge my fans that much fucking money to come see me, bro. $7.50? Who's got that? It would have been, well, yeah, it would have been $1,500 just for the tickets for me and my wife to go see Posty. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Paul, isn't Spotify and Greedy Music record labels responsible for the... Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing, is like, back in the day, your album sales used to make the money, and the tour was a way to supplement that cash. You made a little extra money, but it was more about fan service and promotion. Now, your tour is how the artist makes 90% of their money. It's flipped. So artists have a lot more impetus to charge more money because they're not getting a whole lot off of their record sales anymore. They're not getting a huge piece of their streaming pie and all of that. You know, they sign the lucky ones, they sign a contract, they get paid a certain amount of money with a little royalty on their record. And you want to make the big fat stacks of money, you got to go on a fucking 6-month tour and blow it up. You're happier than your favorite rapper, Lil Tecca, yeah. I would imagine so, yeah. I mean, they got a fucking... Some of those dudes never stop. Do you want to know a dude that never stops, bro? And I have mad respect for him as an artist. Kevin Gates. Look into that motherfucker. He is constantly touring. He might take a month a year off, and he's constantly in the booth and touring. Dudes are wild. Yeah. Kevin is the realest of the real, bro. Like, he's just dope, so authentic, immediately recognizable. Yeah, Kevin Gates is super good, bro. You should watch his Rolling Loud performance. His Rolling Loud Cali 2023 was super duper great, bro. Dude, this is the Kevin Gates song right here, bro. Fuck it, I'll take a fucking hit for Kevin. No, this is, dude, this song lives rent free in my head. It's one of my favorite rap songs. Dude, this song is so dope. I love that fucking opening line, dude. And Alhamdulillah, praise to Allah, made it out the clink, praise be to God, big booty freak giving a massage. It's like, okie dokie. Paul, is that auto-tune? Yeah. It's really common in modern rappers to auto-tune their vocals. It's actually a sound now. But Kevin Gates can actually sing. He doesn't need to do it. It's an aesthetic. You a fan of grunge? I mean, yeah. I'm an old person. Grunge was my young people, well, half of my young people music. Grunge and hip hop kind of shaped my whole world. I was never a big metalhead. I liked some metal. I flirted with country for a while, you know what I mean? But it just didn't stick as like a mainline thing for me. Hip hop kind of owned my soul when I was young, and then grunge started to happen when I was like in my early teens. It's when it really started to blow up, and that became a big part of what I listened to too. So those are probably like, but I was very lucky, dude. I had parents that were super into all kinds of music, bro. My parents were into like jazz standards from, you know, the 30s and the 40s. They were into 50s like doo-wop kind of music and bebop. 60s protest rock and funk and soul, that same kind of stuff into the 70s, disco. And then, you know, I was born in 1980, and my parents were very musically in line with, they were young. You know, my mom was 27 when they had me. My dad was 30. And so, yeah. You know, they were still listening to the popular music of the time, the Cyndi Lauper, the Huey Lewis and the News, you know, Phil Collins, Madonna, you know, all that shit, all the pop. So I really was like immersed in a lot of fucking really great music as a child, and I can still groove with all of that music. And so I'm very thankful for that. I'm a very musically, I'm not inclined because I really can't play any music, but I would say like musically interested person. You lift consciousness above its station when you say shit like that, bro. There are two eternal entities of existence, the universe and consciousness. They're intertwined in an infinite dance of harmony. Well, the teachings that I follow teach me that there are three great powers in all the universe, right? Well, four, sorry. There is man, the earth, the universe, and the Tao. And each one below answers to the one above it. Consciousness isn't on that list. Consciousness is not to be elevated beyond its station. Only the Tao answers to nothing. Boom, boom, boom. How's it going? It's going. Well, I love working with you for the same reason. Like, we meld in that way, I think. Both of us are musically eclectic. We kind of get it. Speak the fucking unspoken language, or whatever you want to call it. Well, consciousness is just a stand-in for you. It's elevating you above nature in your mind. And if you want to do that, go ahead. Consciousness is a stand-in for you. Your defensiveness of consciousness and your elevation of consciousness is just an elevation of your own ego over the world. The Tao strictly delineates, and I think it's pretty fucking smart. There's man, earth, the universe, and the Tao. Each one below answers to the one above. Sorry, I didn't mean to be preachy about it. I'm learning a lot about Taoism, and I'm really trying to rewire my thinking. It's a process. It's not a light switch. It's a process, bro. Yeah, I listen to a little Alan Watts. What is the Tao? The Tao that can be named is not the true Tao. The name that can be spoken is not the true name. Taoists call the Tao the great unknowable Tao. It is Wu Wei, the moment of inaction before every action. It is the birth of every action. It's the moment of stasis prior to every action that is required. That's the Tao. The Tao is everything, right? The Tao is all-encompassing. You could look at the four great powers as a pyramid. You could also look at it as kind of a Venn diagram, right? Where the Tao is the only thing encompassing all, right? Everything else answers upward. TJ was talking about panpsychism the other day. I have no clue what that is. The deep and unshakable feeling I get that everything has a mind. Panpsychism. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things that I like about the Tao is that it's the opposite of a motive force. It's an emotive force, right? You don't put consciousness and desire to it. You don't try and bring it down to your level. You shouldn't try to gain some sort of deep understanding of its mysteries, right? What does the Tao say? When you see the Tao, you see the mystery. When you see only your own thoughts, you see the manifestations. I got my cat in my mattress and a mouse in a fish tank, hanging out with Paul. He lit a cig. I said that shit stank. Get him the fuck out of here, bro. That shit stank. Well, Taoism is a philosophy, yeah. It's an Eastern philosophy. It's an Eastern philosophical, conceptual framework, and also a dharmic religion, right? Part of the Eastern dharmic religions, right? So Taoism, Hinduism, Theravada Buddhism, and Shinto Buddhism. Yeah, dude. Legit bad, bro. Legit bad, bro. Yeah, dude. That dude that's like trying to whisper freestyles to you at the party and his breath smells hella like fucking... Smells like Jägermeister, bro. He's breathing Jägermeister, sweet-ass, hot licorice breath in your face, bro. And you're trying to kick his freestyle to you, dude. Yeah, dude. Dead on. Oh, shit. Yeah, there are worse smells, but that's not a good one, bro. Yeah, dude, your ears, you could feel the dew condensating on the inside of your ears, because he's like, yo, let me kick this freestyle, man. Shit's fire, man. Hold up. Let me start over. I spit hot fire. You know it's true. Bitch, you can't rap. You know I do. Bitch, and you're just like, damn, homie. Fuck. All right, man. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, just keep working at it, you know? Paul, do you think people come up with these religions were early ancient sci-fi authors and they realized people actually believed? No. I mean, I look at, you know, the kind of like Eastern religions, and really all religion, you know, you either make them distinct from the philosophical outlook that they present, or you call it one and the same, right? And for me, you know, the root of these philosophies turned religion is the same as any kind of wing of philosophy, right? It's the search for philosophical truth, or as close to that as one can arrive at. That's an extremely cynical view. Okay. Whatever you say, homeboy. what the guy said, yeah. Do you think L. Ron Hubbard was just batshit, or did he also know he was full of shit? I think he knew he was full of shit, but I think he was also batshit. I think if you really look into Hubbard, there's like a broken person at the center of everything he did. I think, not to diagnose from afar, but I think that the guy suffered from some really deep-seated mental health problems, and I think that made him unstable. I also think he was blessed with a really overactive imagination and a really sharp mind for people. And I think at some point in his life, he decided to use that in order to grift the tax man, basically. And I think it was wildly more popular than he ever thought it would be. And I think his mental health deteriorated as his power and the veneration that his new founded church had for him went up. So I think being elevated to the messiah of a religion went to his head in strange and interesting ways. And I think it pushed him over the edge into madness. So from grifter to genuine madman, right? Yeah. Miscavige, though, he's a fucking snake. Miscavige is just a cold capitalist. He's just a killer. And how much more enabled can an ego get than you're literally lifted up on the pedestal of godhood by a ton of people? Right? He engineered that to a certain extent, but attaining it, can you imagine? Somebody that's got an unhealthy dose of ego already and mental problems, what that did to the man? He died completely insane in a trailer in the desert in California, scabrous and like talking to himself feverishly. He stunk, and he would talk gibberish towards the end of his life. They were pumping him full of a drug they don't use anymore, which is an early antipsychotic called Vistaril. And it was the only thing that kept him from raving like a lunatic. So the man had completely and utterly lost his mind by the end of his life. And David Miscavige, who was basically just an errand boy for him in his last years, basically did a coup. Because he was so close to the death, because he knew before anybody else in Scientology knew that Hubbard had died, he was the first one to call the Scientologists together and announce it. He was the heir apparent just from that act. Oh yeah, no. He was very interested in Hinduism in particular, and then that led him to a broader interest in the occult. And he met up with a guy named Jack Parsons, and you can look this guy up. Jack Parsons was kind of like a mid-level military administration figure, not like a 5-star general or anything, but like a dude that was working in the administration for the army and shit. And he was friends with a guy named Anton LaVey, who you may recognize that name as well. And Hubbard, Jack Parsons, and Anton LaVey engaged in sex magic rituals with this woman whose name evades me now. They were attempting to impregnate her with the Antichrist. And they did these insane sex magic rituals, and it was during his talks with Jack Parsons that he's thought to have come up with the idea of blending modern Freudian psychotherapy with a fantastical sci-fi underpinning and creating a religion. I thought Anton LaVey wasn't theistic. He wasn't. sex magic is not as fun as it sounds and involves illegal things, chat. Yeah. It's not fun. Well, maybe it was fun. But it's not strictly legal. I mean, if you're a sick fuck, yeah. Yeah. What's your take on Albert Pike? Morals and dogma? I really don't know enough to give you a take. The less said about that, the better. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think that there were any accusations that there were murders or anything like that. There were complex rituals involving the blood of the participants, sigils and candles, and a whole lot of sex on an altar. It was also during that time he spent with Jack Parsons and LaVey, right, that he met his first wife, Sarah Northrop. She was actually Jack Parsons' girlfriend. And, Hubbard crept on the come up. He decided she needed a new one. Hey, you, I don't like your boyfriend. No way, think you need a new one. She pulled the first fucking, rope-a-doped, rope-a-doped old Jackie boy out of, but if you ask Scientology, Sarah Northrop was never married. To Hubbard, even though they had a child together. Yeah, he was a rocket scientist. Sarah was 2 of 3. Okay, I might have the name wrong then. I'm trying to think of so Mary Sue Hubbard was the 3rd. Sarah Northrop was the 2nd. Who was the 1st? Aren't marriages public records? Yes. They tell their fucking congregation that he was only married twice and that it's an evil lie told to them by fucking Sykes that he was ever married to this woman. Yeah. Scientology is, especially people that are in it at the highest, most constricted levels. Scientology is a very insular religion. One of the things that is drilled into you is that anybody that is against Scientology is against Scientology in order to cover up their own crimes. That's literally how they put it. A Scientologist, if you're picketing them, might ask you, what are your crimes? Implying that the only reason that you're there protesting is because you are guilty of some crime, right? And so these people are oftentimes raised in this. It's a cult, right? So you have to look at it like that. It's a cult. People are raised in Scientology multiple generations of their lives. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm being suppressive. I'm being an SP right now, dude. Calm down my SP vibes. But yeah, no, it's a cult. People believe wild shit. They're told that the very act of looking into Scientology outside of the resources provided by Scientology is the act of a suppressive person. So, there's nothing but lies and bullshit and obfuscation out there because there's a lot of dirty people on this planet, and Scientology is all good, and they want it destroyed because they know that Scientology is the only way to really save the planet. And the Psychs want it destroyed. The Psychs being the evil aligned forces in the universe. So they set up a situation where you've literally got, yeah, they call him Source. They literally call Hubbard Source. And that's the only thing that matters. The things he wrote, the things he said that were committed to tape, the only things that matter. He is Source. L. Ron Hubbard can be referred to in Scientology as Source. Source says this, Source says that. He's the Source, the one. It's wild. Dude, I spent 4 or 5 years intensely interested and following the anti-Scientology movement in the early 2000s. So around 2001, 2002 is when I discovered Mark Bunker and the Lisa McPherson Trust. So through Mark Bunker, I discovered the anti-Scientology movement just on a whim. I don't even remember where I saw his video or how I was linked to it. I just, was surfing the internet, as we called it back then, and came across his shit. And the first video about Scientology, really, like from a critical standpoint that I ever saw, is a video that you can go find now. Mark Bunker still has it up. It's called the Scientology Revenge Picket. So they being Scientology, Mark Bunker was making videographies about local Scientology organizations in the greater Los Angeles area, which, by the way, with the exception of Clearwater, Florida, has the highest concentration of Scientologists and Scientology facilities on the planet. So Mark Bunker lived in Hollywood and kind of traveled around to Scientology events, covered them from a critical standpoint, right? He was a citizen journalist. Scientology, the local Scientology orgs, which are very closely connected to the top levels of Scientology, as you might imagine, decided that they were going to try and smear Mark Bunker amongst his community. And so they sent 2 agents of Scientology to Mark Bunker's little suburban neighborhood on the outskirts of Hollywood and had them stand there with protest signs that said, "Your neighbor Mark Bunker is a pedophile. Your neighbor Mark Bunker is a religious bigot." And they were handing out flyers with a bunch of bullshit on them about Mark Bunker being a pedophile and shit. Alleging, like, convictions and stuff that never existed in his past, right? And so he goes out with his camera and confronts these dudes. And it wasn't that confrontation that got me into Scientology, like, as a critic. It was one of the guys there. Okay, so I've got to explain a little bit of Scientology, right? Scientologists believe, so there are OT levels, okay? As you go through Scientology, right, the first kind of thing that you have to attain in Scientology is called the state of clear. And that can cost you upwards of $50,000, right? And then you've got 8 OT levels to go through. OT is short for operating Thetan. So if you are not an OT of a certain designation, you can't know some of the things that are on higher levels. Hubbard literally taught that if you are exposed to information from OT3, what they call the wall of fire, before OT3, that it will, quote, re-stimulate a pneumonia implant in your brain and cause you to get sick and die. You can literally die from getting this information too early. That's what they tell people, right? And so one of the dudes that was out there protesting was a guy named Dan Murnin. Dan Murnin at that time, and still to my knowledge, was an OT8, right? That meant he's the tip top of the tip top of where you can get in Scientology. So there's nothing he can't hear. The other guy they sent was either not even an OT yet or below OT3. And so Mark decided to test these guys' OT levels. He didn't know either one of them was on an OT level. And so he starts reading from OT3. 65 million years ago, Earth was known as Tegiak. And this sector of the galaxy was run by, an alien overlord named Xenu. He starts talking this shit. And one of the dudes plugs his ears and starts laughing really loud, like going, no, no. And he's plugging his ears and walking away because he can't. And I was fascinated because Mark explains it in the video, right? Why the guy was doing that, and I was hooked immediately because I was like, these people are wild. And it was through Mark Bunker. Mark Bunker later joined a dude. What is his name? Fuck. I'm brain farting on his name, but it doesn't matter. He was a millionaire guy that funded a thing called the Lisa McPherson Trust. It was a nonprofit organization in Clearwater, Florida that was dedicated to helping people get out of Scientology. And it was a trust kept in the name of a woman named Lisa McPherson, who was kept on the introspection rundown as she was having a mental breakdown. She was having an absolute psychotic break, basically, driven, by the way, to the edge of it by the constant sec checking and bullshit that goes on in Scientology. And instead of taking her to the hospital, they kept her locked up in a room on what they called baby watch. And she died laying there of exposure. And you can go see her autopsy photos if you're not the squeamish type of person. Her name is Lisa McPherson. She has cockroach bites all over her as she lay catatonic for weeks in a shitty motel room with guards outside the door. She was eaten up by cockroaches. So that woman died rather than get out of Scientology, rather than be taken to the fucking hospital and treated for her mental problems. No. Lisa McPherson was just a Scientologist. She had a mental breakdown and was kept on the introspection rundown. She was pumped full of tons of vitamin B and vitamin D. This is all part of the Purif program of Scientology. It's intimated that she may have had a drug problem. Yikes, I didn't even know roaches did that. I didn't either until the Lisa McPherson case. But yeah, if a human body is laying there inert, cockroaches will come feed on it. Typically, if somebody feels a roach climbing on them, they brush it off, right? Well, if they don't, yummy, yummy. So, I mean, you really gotta fucking appreciate how evil the Church of Scientology truly is. And Mark Bunker joined as a videographer to the Lisa McPherson Trust, and they would do protests out in front of the headquarters of Scientology, which is in Clearwater, Florida. And there is a hotel there called the Fort Harrison Hotel that is the spiritual mecca of Scientology. It's the first building that Scientology purchased in Clearwater, and its most holy site. But it's a shitty ass old hotel. Anyway. And that's where Lisa McPherson died. She died in the in the Fort Harrison Hotel in Clearwater, Florida. Yeah. I mean, it's a big building, and it's in downtown Clearwater. And they have since built the so-called superpower building down there, which you should look that shit up, because that shit is wild. Look up Clearwater, Florida superpower building, and you'll see the giant, like $180 million facility that Scientology built there to demonstrate different kinesthetic ideas that fucking Hubbard had. It's wild, bro. It's hard to explain. It's fucking nuts, bro. It's legit nuts. So yeah, the Clearwater, Florida has kind of like an ongoing battle between the citizens that live there and Scientology. Scientology, because they base their ecclesiastical headquarters out of Clearwater, Florida. Scientology it basically imports a ton of people that work in what they call the Sea Org, the Sea Organization. These are people that literally give their entire life. They sign a billion-year contract. A billion-year contract, yes. So these are people that are basically like willing slaves of Scientology. And they bring those people in by the tens of thousands, right? And so they've artificially inflated the Scientology numbers in Clearwater to the point where they have, you know, just basically like it's like a religion moved in and took over a town. Right? So the people that live there that aren't Scientologists are constantly fighting with the state and with the local city municipal government and shit to rein in Scientology's ability to continue buying up real estate downtown. Because here's what happens. Scientologists are weirdos. So they build these big, beautiful buildings, but nobody wants to come see them because Scientologists are creepy, legit. Like they live in an alternate universe. They don't interact with people outside of the church very often, other than to proselytize to them. They've got the same like weirdness about them as like a hardcore Christian that's out door knocking and shit, you know? Not somebody that's just kind of like smooth and chill and secure about it, but somebody that's out there trying to fucking reap the souls. And so other people that own businesses in downtown Clearwater, Florida, are constantly lobbying the government to put a limit on how many buildings Scientology, a religious organization, can purchase in downtown Clearwater. And then giving them evidence of how, you know, a Scientology building moving adjacent to your property just kills your business because nobody wants to go down there anymore. Right? So it's actually kind of nuts. Just Scientology's presence in that town alone is actually like, you could do a whole documentary on that shit. It's fucking wild, bro. But yeah, the Lisa McPherson Trust used to protest out in front of the Fort Harrison Hotel, and the so-called Sand Castle, which is basically just crew berthing, is what they call it. It's shitty, like, housing for people in the Sea Org, basically. It's like a big apartment block. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. I mean, the deeper you dig, the more you find out about Hubbard and Miscavige and Scientology, what they call technology, and the more stories you hear of people that have tried to leave it and been harassed and stalked and shit. Yeah, it's called Flag Land Base. Right. It's a palatial fucking palace, yeah. I just looked it up and it's the biggest building in Clearwater. Yeah. It dominates Clearwater's downtown. And it literally generates absolutely zero tourism and chases local business away. So Clearwater, like, so check this out. To tie it all together, there's one name you might remember, a person who is on the Clearwater City Council, Mark Bunker. So Mark Bunker moved to Clearwater, Florida when he joined the Lisa McPherson Trust. And he ran for city council as a critic of Scientology and won. So now he tries to work his way through that, which I think is cool. Isn't there less than 100K Scientologists? Nobody knows exactly how many people practice it. You guys be careful with that.
Yeah, we're trying to be careful because there's literally 2 black widows in our yard.
Yeah, you might want to go get your dad and have him squoosh those. We killed we killed a bunch of them over here, kids. Yeah. We just had to spray over here. They're bad this year. But yeah, don't get bit. Don't be crazy.
If you get bit, it's not our fault. There's probably more over there. I'm just sketching along, I swear. We should go get Dad's school. Why are you? Let's just go, Dad. On his way. Okay? Ladies first, so let's just. I'm not risking my life.
You guys could tell your dad I'll pass over the stuff we sprayed over here to kill him.
Yeah, he's not letting me tell him.
Yeah, tell him I've got a big bunch of stuff and he can spray it.
How much did you kill?
I killed like 5 or 6 of them yesterday over here, bro.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna go ask him. It's crazy. Thank you for warning us.
Yeah, no worries, bud. Oh, dude, I'm a fucking 10x uncle. I know how to handle that shit. I'm a 10x uncle, bro. I'm well practiced, okay? I'm just not trying to let some kid get bit by a fucking widow right now, dude. It ain't gonna kill him, but it ain't good. The younger you are, the worse it is if you get bit.
I feel like this is
be an uncle myself is exciting for me. My sister's expecting this month, I think. That's cool, dude.
Yeah, that's another one. No, it's not. That's a daddy one. It's a daddy one. Okay, this is where I come in clutch. In the clutch, we put it right out. What if that thing freaking sees us? Look both ways. Yeah, I'm sketching. I'm just sketching. Look on the other. Look on this side. Yeah,
Having Paul as a neighbor as a kid would be epic. I don't know about that.
Let's look right there. Yeah, I know. I see that. Let's go back this way. Yeah, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna. I mean, yeah, we're not gonna. Jesus. Yep, I'm not risking it. If we get some.
I should just pass him the salt gun and let him.
Right there. No,
Brah. Just let him rack it up. Couple pumps from that salt gun. I'm sorry, dude. That widow is no more. No. They've been bad this year, bro. Amelia and I, probably in the last year, have killed 5 or 6 big, fat mama black widows with egg sacs and the whole 9. One of them was right up underneath Amelia's chair, bro. Right where she sits out here. This is wild shit, bro. So I know they gotta be hella bad everybody else's yard. So I went and got that, you know, shit that you spray outside around the perimeter, around your door frames, your window frames and stuff. And I hosed the whole outside of the house and the yard edge and everything. Garage yesterday. And doing that, I killed 2 or 3 of them. Doing that, including the biggest one I've seen in a long time that was up underneath my fire pit over here, bro. She was that big around. She was huge. Her ass was like, I was like, okay. But she was probably responsible for a lot of the egg sacs out here. It takes some years to get that big, bro. I don't know why. Why are the predators, the one you showed on the stream? Yeah, she was huge. Had like a dime-sized abdomen. She was fucking huge. And she had like 3 or 4 little fucking egg sacs up under there. So yeah, I mean, it's been wild. I don't know what the reason is, so tell me what the reason is. Because they're just fucking horrible. Is it because like the birds that usually eat them or whatever aren't eating them because they're dead? Because I don't know. What's the depressing reason? That's what I'm guessing. It's because of the heat wave, right? Spiders love it. Birds hate it. Yeah. Well, it's muffed up, bro. There's just been a gang of black widows, and I don't like it, bro. I'm usually real tolerant of bugs and shit, because circle of life and all that. But you know what, dude? A black widow must die. Those bitches gotta hang, bro. Every last one of them, bro. Yeah, dude, the spiders are taking over. No, they're fucking wild this year, bro. I've never seen this many black widows, especially like in a residential neighborhood. It's like one thing if you live like up in the foothills near a stand of wood or something, like you're gonna get a lot more widows and fiddlebacks and stuff like that. Bro, they're usually not creepy crawling around in a neighborhood like this, but there are fucking black widows all over everything. Dude, they're in every corner. I don't even want to think about it, bro. I hosed my whole fucking house down on the outside. Stem to stern, bro. Arachnotopia. Ugh. Ugh. Kelly has huge tick problems too. Bro. Well, luckily Dynor's protected, okay? Dynor's got the fucking whatnot spray. Or not the spray, the fucking, he's the pill. The Trifexis. It's anti-heartworm, flea, and tick. I hear Black Widow, I think of the Australian Black Widows that have killed people. Well, Australian people have to deal with like orb weavers, like black orb weavers, and huntsmans. Huntsman spiders are nasty. Orb weavers look terrifying, but I've heard they're typically not very dangerous. No, they're dangerous as fuck. They're typically not dangerous to humans because they don't typically invade places where humans are. But they're deadly. Man, I don't even want to fucking talk about spiders. Dude, camel spiders, bro. I don't even want to. Let's stop. We're going to stop talking about spiders right now. Spiders are furthermore a banned topic. Banned. So how about that hydropower argument? Sure, it's bad for California. Sure, it's bad for California. Yeah, no. There are no river systems that lack aquatic migrating species that would be non-impacted by fucking a dam. It just isn't that. I mean, if you're talking about outside of California, dams are typically destructive to the ecosystem. So there's no like lifeless rivers that I'm aware of. I finished The People's History by Howard Zinn. Thanks for recommending. I learned a lot. Yeah, it's a great book. You definitely did good by yourself for looking into that book.
You want Snooki?
I sit down here, and the little boys that live over there, over here on this side of the house with a flashlight, like going, "Dude, that's a big black widow, bro." And I had to say something. Like, kids, be careful. Come on, don't get bit. Go get your dad. Tell him there's a black widow. Because well, yeah, but an organism doesn't have to be migratory to be impacted by a river drying up. So, yeah, maybe not every river's got spawning salmon in it or whatever, but If you're going to tell me it doesn't change the ecosystem functionally to create a giant lake and trap a bunch of water and keep a riverbed from, because you understand that water in that riverbed feeds acreage down the line. So you're not just even changing the local ecosystem, but you're changing the entire ecosystem of the entire state by damming up a major river. So that's the impact you're making. That's why I'm against hydroelectric.
It's what you call it, the food chain.
Right.
You mess up one part of it and it has cascading effects.
Transform the landscape is one way of saying completely and utterly destroys the biosphere. I mean, it's very soft language you're using. What if we get the beavers to build it? Beavers never dam up major rivers, bro. They dam up creeks and shit, and that's actually a good part about like spreading moisture around the wetlands and stuff. They work in harmony with their environment. There's not a beaver building a fucking dam across the Mississippi River or fucking, you know, the Colorado River or some shit. Let's be real.
And it's, you know, vulnerable to elements, so it's not something that's...
It's not permanent.
Stable. Yeah.
Like eventually water eats away at it and it falls out and the river returns to its normal course. It's part of the cycle. It's not even a river, the creek. All right, bud. I mean, if you want to put your fingers in your ear and go la 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 about hydroelectric, I'll let you do it. But you saying that damming up major rivers does the opposite of destroy the biosphere is fucking retarded, because they moved a mating pair of eagles onto Pickwick Lake.
Like, there's a reason they're tearing up the dams. They're not throwing away power because it has no cost.
Came there themselves. Good for them. Where were they reintroduced lately?
There's also pigeons that live in landfills.
Yeah, that's true. We don't want to destroy their ecosystem. We created a new ecosystem for them. Come on. Let's just not. I mean, it's like as plain as the nose on your face that damming up a fucking river destroys everything beyond the dam. Kills the ecosystem, and it fundamentally changes the landscape in a negative way. Especially at a time when species are disappearing from the planet at record numbers, at record speed. Building more dams, damming up more rivers would just accelerate the cycle of extinction. And by the way, building hydroelectric for freshwater is probably not going to be the best idea coming soon. I don't think power is what we're going to be trying to extract out of water. Oh, but Paul, mass extinctions are just part of the process. It would happen whether or not we were here. I mean, you say with sarcasm, but that's actually true. I mean, like, functionally, we know that mass extinction events are part of the cycle of this planet and the life on it. You know, well before we had any impact on that, the world was ended by organisms and geological events and visitors from the stars, okay? So
We're making an effort to try to, or at least some people are making an effort to try to mitigate that mass extinction because we don't want to be part of it too.
well, I'd rather not be part of it. I would rather not advocate, at the very least, for more degradation in an environment that's just screaming and dying.
Like, we're
You know.
part of it too. We gotta.
Yeah. Like people have been separated from the planet at large because, you know, I don't know, we've been encouraged via advertising and modern pop culture to look inward rather than outward. And there's nothing wrong with looking inward. There's nothing wrong with deciding who you are and what you want. But goddamn, man, if that's all that your pursuit is, and that's all you see when you look out into the world is a reflection of your own self, it's like, and also my idea for hydropower is just to build dams, whatever. I don't know. You're just flying in the face of like ecological fact saying that dams are good for the environment. Like that's just ecologically not true. And it doesn't matter if a pair of bald eagles nested by a man-made lake or not. That doesn't matter. Those eagles were reintroduced by conservationists. What do you think of paddle wheels? What? Nuclear power should be the focus going forward. Paddle wheels? You're talking about like the old things that used to drive like medieval mills and stuff? I don't think that's gonna make enough energy, my G. Good idea. If it was like 1310. You're thinking. I like that. I saw TJ mowed his lawn recently. Will you mow yours sometime? No. There are some, I don't even want to fucking look. Oh my god, dude. Dams are good, Paul. Ugh. I just, everything is undermined by just observable fact. We've got a giant nuclear furnace hanging in the sky. Let's collect all the energy and more that we need from that. How's that? Let's not dam up any rivers. Let's not sink any shafts. Let's, let's stop with the shit that's destroying the fucking ecosystem and destroying the planet. And let's find the minimal impact possible to collect as much solar energy as we need. Yeah. Fuck that. Let's power the world. Bulldoze the South because they refuse to be fucking reconstructed. They still have a hair of that fucking rebel in them, so let's just preemptively get rid of them. Bulldoze the South because it's a shithole. And literally cover all these fucking hoo-ha shitholes with giant fucking solar panels. Yeah? And then power the world, you know? Power the planet. In 2028, America made the brave decision to bulldoze the South and replace every single square inch of it with giant superpowered reflective sun collectors. This had the dual benefit of collecting massive amounts of power and cooling the United States to a balmy 70 degrees. While there was much consternation during the act, most people don't seem to miss Southerners. As the world is now free of stupid, gibbering, slack-jawed Nazis and disgusting, fetid, mosquito-infested swamps are now just covered with solar panels. God save the Queen. Yeah, you know what? I tell you what, 1 for 1. That's fair, right? So we give you Nevada, right? You could make that all solar panels, right? But we get Mississippi, all solar panels. Fair? You get Arizona, right? We get Missouri, solar panels, right? You get New Mexico, sure. We get, you know, Arkansas. You know, you want part of California though? You want Death Valley? Missouri is hardly the South. What side they fight on in that Civil War again? I hesitate to remember what side the great state of Missouri fought on in the Great Civil War. What side was that again? What side was that? I can't not remember. Were they wearing gray or dark blue? I tell you, the fact flees my mind. Let's see. How about this? What side did Missouri fight on in the Civil War?
Missouri was a border state during the American Civil War and had both Union and Confederate sympathizers. Missouri hoped to stay out of the conflict by remaining a part of the Union, but militarily neutral. But newly elected Missouri Governor Claiborne Fox Jackson was a strong Southern sympathizer. This is from Wikipedia.
So half of you went, and the other half of you went. Okay, so we take half of Missouri. We take half of Missouri. The Lance Sloan has deigned to appear. Look who it is. Hold on, let's see something. Let's see something. Go like that. There really should be a thing where you can click on the person and say, like, invite to stream. But YouTube is lagging behind the world by 8 years on that. If you want Death Valley, you're going to have to give us Texas and Florida. Because it may be just a big, empty, fucking hot-ass desert, but it's California land, okay? Every acre of California land should be answered by 25 to 50 acres of southern land in the exchange. Okay? Fair enough? So we get Texas and Florida. You guys get southeastern California. Are you pro-technocracy? No. No. Like Brave New World style technocracy, no. I'm pro-AI overlord, okay? The more I see human beings roped into FUBA politics, the more I realize that we need the machine. Fuck Reconstruction too. We tried Reconstruction with y'all. We tried. You guys undermined it. You went into your little secret enclaves in the woods and burned crosses and put sheets on your heads and shit. No, what needs to happen is the writing on the wall needs to be read. All reasonable folks are given the option to come north. Anybody that ain't reasonable, well, just stay put. Bulldozers. Push it all into the Gulf, because we need to use that for some hydroelectric. Since y'all have already murdered the Gulf, since the Gulf is basically emptied of life now, just a giant, soupy, oily mess of bullshit, we're just going to put a big mat on that. And every time there's a hurricane down there, we're just going to harness the energy of that shit. Big hydrostatic mat or whatever. Fuck it. You guys have already ruined it. We're going to use it for energy now. It's done. So I just say bulldozers, right? Push the whole South into the Gulf. Then cover it up with that hydrostatic blanket. And then cover the land in solar panels and wind farms and shit. I mean, we got like a smart solar panel system that goes like it goes underground when there's a hurricane, right? The hurricane not gonna be collecting any solar during that anyway. Hurricane blows by, right? Right? Oh no, trust me. Are you going to transmit power that far? I mean, pipelines, battery technology, I don't fucking know yet. I mean, we transport electricity all the way across the United States. I'm assuming we can just tap into the grid, right? Put it on the grid. Right, you have to have a substation. So we build substations to get it to places where it matters. Out of what is now, what used to be, the hee-haw yokel-dokel South. The shit-kicker South. Which we, remember, pushed into the ocean with bulldozers. Well, not the ocean, the Gulf. Remember, we pushed it. You know, the great part was, too, when we pushed it all into the ocean, those bastards, they got to stay with their Confederate fucking monuments after all. Right there at the bottom of the Gulf, you know? The proud statue of Bubba Mungus. Great leader of the fucking, you know, Louisiana 71st Cavalry Brigade. Whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they do it now. Look, dude, power is transferred all across the nation during power crises and stuff. There's a nationwide power grid. Okay? Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say a parking lot, but yeah, like a big solar and wind farm. No, Phoebes, come on. I would never be that petty. Come on. Oh my God, bro. Yeah, dude. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Look, South, I'm sorry. We've been carrying you guys on our backs and paying your fucking deficit for too long over here. We're gonna have to let you go. We're gonna go ahead and push you into your beloved Gulf. Where what's left of the meager sea life that still remains there after your stewardship of it can eat you. And the detritus of your civilization. And in your scarred place, we will build an energy network that feeds not just the United States, but the entirety of North and South America. Which we will promptly take control over. Once that happens, we hand it over to the machine. Lock, stock, and barrel. The machine worries about how to conglomerate itself on the whole planet to save us. And then we're good. Right? We're good. Yeah. Those New Orleans tombs are just going to get washed away anyway. We may as well push them into their beloved Gulf. Oh, this fat motherfucker buried in this here tomb loved eating that Gulf shrimp. So it's only right the Gulf shrimp done ate his ass. Yeah, dude. There's a lot of wisdom in my crazy plans, I'm telling you, man. What has the South done for us lately? Name one thing. I'll wait, bro. I want you to tell me, when's the last time there was like a national emergency and you heard on the news, but thankfully the American South was there? Like, when's the last time those knuckle draggers weren't like dragging their feet at everything that needed to change, right? The writing's on the wall, bro. Writing's on the wall. There ain't gonna be a new South, bro. Give me that. But thankfully, the American South was there to pick up the shattered pieces. Bullshit. Like, never, right? It's always the other ways around. Like, another state completely engulfed in flooding and hurricane damage. The rest of the nation coming out of pocket to save the yokels once again. It's always that. Quit bailing these people out. Put some wind farms there. Let's capitalize on this shit. Get them out. They've ruined it. The Gulf is lifeless, acidifying, and 98 degrees all summer. It's fucking disgusting. But, you know, we could put a big hydro blanket on it, have the waves make power, you know? Well, after all is said and done, after the last bulldozer pushes the last yokel into the last square inch of the Gulf that's available, we can truly say, with definitive proof, that the South will not rise again. This is Paul Zigo, Channel 6 News. We ain't worried about no bulldozer. Well, I know. That's why they're going to work. You guys are worried about, who's going to go down to the Whataburger tonight to rustle up some victuals or whatever the fuck. Right? That's why they're going to work. You ain't worried about shit. You've been sucking on the teats of the West and the North and the East for so long that you've gotten fat and complacent. So we're just going to pull up with some armored bulldozers and we're literally just going to push your asses into the Gulf. What if there's 5 good men in the South? 5 good men versus an army of bulldozers? I think they lose, right? What was that idea, honey? Could it be this frosty beverage? Thank you, baby. That's a good idea.
That'd be nice.
I was just talking about the efficacy of sending an army of bulldozers to push the South into the Gulf and then make that wind farms and solar.
Hydropower or tidal power.
And then tidal, yeah, since they've ruined the Gulf anyway.
Yeah.
Put a big hydrostatic mat on it and just let the wave power, right, generate electricity. And then you go inland. No more squalor, no more stinky southern racist bullshit. Just endless wind farms, you know what I mean? And endless solar fields. And it just powers all of North and South America.
And you could maybe put like all the corn there.
In whatever parts of that blighted environment corn will grow, maybe, yeah. Their bad infrastructure can be used. It'll be a new reef. Like when we push all of their horribly dilapidated, shitty cities into the ocean, it'll create like a giant new reef there, you know? It'll be teeming with life. Paul would sit at the New South border like Thanos looking into the sunset. Yes. Very beautiful. I'm just saying, like, I'm kind of joking, but it really is a problem that the South just kind of drags ass and doesn't really contribute to the nation at all and is just kind of like an endless beneficiary of the tax bases in functioning states.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there should be some kind of thing where, like, minimum tax in every state or something. Like, they have to charge at least X income tax or something.
I mean, the problem with it is that they've created a client state, and the only way to functionally change it for the better would be to rewrite the Constitution and federalize. Like, completely get rid of you wouldn't necessarily have to get rid of local and state governments, but change their power to usurp federal law on anything, right?
Like, there's a federal baseline, and then those areas can
You have to
supplement.
meet that, and then, there are regional laws that have no effect on people's livelihoods or inclusivity at all. You can make laws within this zone and handle the distribution of federal funds to your state and make sure that it works for the state, right? But this whole idea that we're all 50 fucking separate places living under one federal fucking blanket,
But that
it doesn't
goes
work.
against the conspiracy of lawyers and accountants that run the world.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Simplify the law. You don't want that.
Yeah, well, I guess that's true.
The conspiracy of lawyers and accountants won't allow it to pass. That damn lawyer accountant conspiracy.
Yeah. I mean, southern states, like, look, southern states pride themselves on being cheap as fuck to live in.
Yeah.
They're cheap as fuck to live in because a lot of them don't do state income tax or have super low property tax or sales tax, right? And so, like, they lure people to them. But when you take away the tax base in an entire state, that tax base needs to be made up somewhere else. Where's that tax base made up? The answer is the West and the East. The coasts of this country float most of the South on a big fat deficit budget. And our positive budgets go to fill in that hole as best we can. Look at it, dude. When's the last time a hurricane hit Texas and you heard Texas have that fucking Lone Star State mentality and go like, you know what? We don't need no federal aid. We got it down here.
We got our own FEMA.
Yeah, we got our own 2 boots on the ground down here. Thank you much, but we don't need that government help. Those motherfuckers can't wait to get them government millions because they ain't socked away any money. They haven't built their infrastructure properly, and it's way easier to send us the bill when it falls into the ground. So how long is that gonna function? Because that's just a fucking political truth. It's 100% a political truth. Didn't Governor Abbott refuse to allow Texas to take aid at first during the freeze? No. I don't remember that happening. If he did, he probably would have been lynched. Cali pays, yeah, we pay for Texas's medical bills and overruns. We pay for Texas's fucking power grid shenanigans. We pay for it all. It all falls on the rest of functional states when non-functional states with no tax base have a bridge that fucks up the supply chain because a bridge blew up or a train fell off the tracks because these fucking motherfuckers didn't do anything about it.
Even take taxes out of the equation. How much wealth is built on stocks in California companies?
Oh, it's fucking insane. I mean, it's absolutely monumentous. Like I said, California is, the last time I checked, the 5th or 6th largest economy in the world alone. Like, that's if we cut off all ties with the federal government and just subsisted on the revenue generated in California by California, we would be the 5th or 6th, I can't remember which, largest economy in the world as our own country. We float the bill for 90% of the rest of this fucking country. Easily.
Well, yeah, because the wealth generated by stocks in California companies is taxed.
Right. Massively. Insanely.
What's California going to do about the water, though? Are they just going to buy it from the rest of the country?
Yeah, I don't fucking know. I really honestly don't know. I mean, California might be kind of fucked when it comes to water.
Or just mass desalination?
That's like a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going to... I mean, listen to Phoebes, the Trans-Midwestern Pipeline. She already said it right there. She's been talking about fucking putting a pipeline over the Rockies forever. And I'm trying to explain to her that the amount of power it would take to pump water over the Rockies or to drill through and under the Rockies, pick your poison, is just fucking, like, fundamentally retarded. Like, look, there are giant water pipes that take water out of the LA Basin area, which has natural lakes and streams and riverbeds and shit, pipes it over what's called the Grapevine, right? For irrigation of the farmland on our side of the valley border. And that is one of the biggest hydroelectric projects. You can look it up. Pumping that much water up over that mountain range and down into the valley. And it's it's the northern end of the California coastal range. Right? The northwestern end of it, basically. And so you're going up into the LA basin from the Great Central Valley. And they pump water up over that small mountain range, and it's one of the biggest like hydroelectric projects in history, just to get the water pumped at a high enough psi through those giant pipes out of one basin and into another, right? And they chose to go up over it because drilling enough tunnels underneath those mountains was a way bigger concern.
Water be heavy, man.
Water be heavy to move in mass and requires a massive amount of energy to move it. Massive. Especially at volume.
We just gotta fucking do the cloud seeding shit. We'll be fine.
Man, okay, let's start it. I'm fine with it. Pour fucking chemicals in the sky if that's what it takes.
Steal the water from the rest of the country with cloud seeding.
Yeah. Does the Central Valley get worse water than LA? Yes. Well, the LA basin is kind of connected to the rivers and streams and stuff that feed into the Pacific Ocean. And the Central Valley of California has dammed up all of that connective tissue to the ocean long ago. Actually, the entire Central Valley used to be a giant lake called Lake Tulare that we intentionally dried out and made all of this farmland out of. We basically made it into an irrigated desert. So, yeah. What are you and Amelia's zodiac signs? Oh my God, you're not one of those chicks, are you?
That's personal, man.
Mm-hmm.
Personal.
Dude, if the zodiac works, you should know. Right? You've listened to us talk enough to put us in our place. No, it's okay. I'm fine with the zodiac shit, but it's just like obvious funsies. Anybody that takes it seriously, I gotta raise a couple eyebrows there. Because it's goofy. Well, go ahead and guess. You've listened enough, right? You know my personality. You probably guess if I'm a fire sign or a water sign, right? And Amelia, you know her personality. You probably guess if she's a fire sign or a water sign, right? Zodiac killer. Zodiac thriller. I think Amelia's a Virgo. What is your opinion, Paul? What is reality in your opinion? I don't think anybody's equipped to answer that question. I think we get to see such a small slice of physical reality that, you know, you could say something like reality is what we perceive it to be. But that leaves a lot of holes in the question, right? Yeah, I mean,
Like limiting it to just what can be measured is like what words aren't reality, thoughts aren't reality.
here's what I know about reality, right? We've reached a point in modern science where people at the fringes of science that are trying to dig into the frontiers, the more they dig, the more questions they find than answers, right? And so our understanding of the universe is in its fucking nascent form at best. And so even with all of our technology and all of the aggregate of all of the thousands of years of human minds working on these problems, right? Like, we haven't even scratched the surface on physical reality and its makeup and how it exists, right? We know so little in comparison to what's going on. And so that, coupled with the fact that we have a limited set of faculties, excuse me, beer. We have a limited set of faculties, limited by the rudimentary nature of our nervous system and our perceptual systems, our ears, our eyes, our brain, the ability to turn those signals into readable data for us. Who knows what the world actually looks like?
Oh yeah, because everything is interpreted.
Right. You don't actually see anything. Your brain sees light bouncing off of something, sends an upside down picture of that to your brain, and then your brain flips it upright and does an interpretation of what it thinks is there based on the light and shadow pattern and based on your presumptions having encountered similar objects in the past.
That's why, like, optical illusions exist.
Right.
And memory is a whole other chestnut to crack.
Right. Memory is like, there's a reason why eyewitness testimony is not seen typically as strong evidence in a case, especially in cases where there are multiple eyewitnesses, because it is almost functionally impossible to get multiple eyewitnesses who witnessed an event from several vantage points to tell the same fucking story. Because people's memory isn't about recreating reality, it's about recalling a facsimile. And so if something's missing from your memory and you're called to recall it, your memory will happily fill in the blanks for you. Happily. Oh, he was a black guy. How did you know that? Oh, I just remembered it. Was it a black guy? Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Your memory told you it was, right? It's all interpretive. If you want to get real deep into it, right, the more questions you ask about it, the less answers you'll get. Because I think you're asking the wrong question. Like, what is reality? I don't know. You know, I don't think anybody is going to be able to answer that question for you.
Yeah, you've experienced that. You've invented memories that I didn't reconcile
Crossed up things and like made memories, like took something like a movie we watched and then put a movie I watched in there. Because I don't remember exactly which movie we watched. And you see how time is just relative to me? Something that I say is 10 years ago might be 20, might be 5. It's more of a case of what are we? No. It's a case of winning the time game, right? That's really what it is. Time is an entirely theoretical concept, right? It only exists in our dimension to explain the decay of things. But time is part of space, part of the fabric of space. They call it space-time at that level of study, right? Because they're linearly connected. So what we experience as time is really just an amalgam of memory and fantasy. Think about this, right? Memory is very close to fantasy at a certain point. And all you have is fantasy when you're looking forward. Nobody's got a crystal ball to see the future. Right? So the time game and winning the time game is learning to the best of your ability to live right now for this moment. Because this moment is gone as soon as it comes, and it is where you exist. It is the only time in which your consciousness is sharp and real as it can be. This moment. And it's gone. Right?
Dinor.
So we've just talked about the fallibility of human memory. We've talked about how unreliable it is as a narrator. And we've talked about the inability for human beings to tell the future. And yet so many people spend so much of their time living in that time frame. Oh, I should have done this in the past. Oh, I wish I'd have done this in the past. Or, oh God, I've got to do this next week. I've got to do this in a month. Oh, if I don't get this done, oh God, oh God, oh God. Oh. I'm not saying you don't have to pay attention to some of the things that are coming up in the future. I'm saying in this moment, if you can't appreciate the moment, then you're really not appreciating anything. You're just appreciating a facsimile of a time that's dead and a you that's dead. You know, you replace every cell in your body on average, what is it, every 6 years?
Yeah, 7 years or something like
Yeah.
that.
So like, you're not even the same person you were 7 years ago. Functionally, you're a different entity. So that jingle drives him nuts.
Yeah.
Because he associates his jingle bells with him moving. So he knows it's dog. Are you operating from the presupposition that the human mind creates reality? If so, how do you justify the presupposition? I'm not justifying so the human mind does not create reality. We do not have a functional grasp on the broad spectrum of reality, is what I'm saying.
You're saying that our perception is our filter, and our filter is limited.
Right. Our pixel density is only so high. Our ability to see light, for example, as a spectrum is incredibly limited. And thus our ability to see true color is incredibly limited. So what we see in the world, beautiful as it may be, is but a facsimile of a picture that our brain has interpreted from photons hitting the back of our fucking eyes, hitting your optic nerve and being translated by your brain, right? That's the point. So we're not creating reality. We're functionally limited in how much we can observe about it, right? And so memory as facsimile is a super, super prominent part of a psychological education. You learn it very early, Psych 101. It's not to say memory is entirely unreliable. It's to say that memory is subjective. Well, that's about living in the moment, Luke, right? The reality as you perceive it is what you have this moment. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, today, now, this, now. Everything is just a manifestation of our mind's eye. It's even worse than that because we're complex psychological beings. So if you ever talk to somebody who you feel like sees what they want to see, you know what I mean? Like you are in an argument with somebody about something that happened, and you feel like that person is just making shit up and recalling what they want to see. Functionally, unless you're dealing with a person that's just lying, which could be the case, functionally what you're dealing with is a person who saw one event differently, whose brain and psychology interpreted the manifestation differently than your brain. You feel me on that? I know that's kind of complex, but I know you've had that conversation with a person where you just don't seem to sync up on some shit that happened. And it's typically not because that person is lying about the event, but it can definitely feel like, damn, is this person just like making up a reality that they want? And the answer is yeah, and so are you, to a certain extent. It's all interpretive, and it's all based on a fallible system of memory that is very, very good at filling in the gaps to make a narrative. Human beings are very, so detectives will talk about this, right? People that investigate crimes, right? They'll talk about how you have to avoid operating from a narrative, right? You build a narrative on evidence. You don't start with a narrative and work backwards because it colors your perception, right? There's a whole scene in True Detective about it, right? The first season, where they find that first girl in that ritual pose out tied up to that tree, right? And Marty is taking it from a very procedural police investigative standpoint. Let's take evidence. And Rust is already making presuppositions about the killer and what he's done. And Marty warns him to not build a narrative and work backwards because it twists your perception, twists your memory. But if you think about it, those are professional people investigating a very specific crime or event, right? What about other human beings that aren't held to that same rigor, right, in their lives? All I know is that I know nothing. I think he was making a joke, though, because that's a performative contradiction. Right. It's like only a Sith deals in absolutes, right? Which itself is an absolute statement, right? Like if you know that you know nothing, then you know something. It's a performative contradiction, right? So I tend to agree when it comes to Socrates, him being a character and all, right? We're in agreement that Socrates never existed as a human being, and he was functionally invented to justify Aristotle and Plato's works, right? He was the great wise sage on the mountain from which their philosophical outlook derived, right? It gave them credibility as students of a great master. A great master who consequentially never existed. No, I mean, it's not even really a theory. It's pretty well known, as far as I'm concerned, that Socrates didn't exist. I mean, there's a really, like, there's a large chance that there were multiple Socrates, right? That he's an amalgam of a lot of different thinkers from the time, right? Serves as a functional vessel for a number of different thinkers at the time. Mythologizes them into one wise being. Yeah, dude. Our Socrates is Haley Hawk Tua, bro. The #1 podcast in the world, bro. Look out, Joe Rogan. Talk Tua, bro. It's time for Talk Tua. Hi. Time for another episode of Talk Tua. I'm that girl that was at the county fair and said how I spit on a dick. Anyway, I'm gonna talk to somebody today. Yeah, dude, there are known knowns and known unknowns. Yeah, dude. There was some wild, twisted language used during the post 9/11 era. I'll tell you that fucking much, bro. Good old Donnie Rumsfeld. It's a crazy era to look back at. Pretty wild. I think it's when the fucking timeline broke, bro. That event broke this country and made us just fearful enough to allow the last little bit of our freedoms to be drained away. The freedom to be secure in your own house and not be surveilled, all of that, right? That last bastion of true freedom. It went bye-bye for safety, for the sake of safety. In a post 9/11 world, we just can't have everybody, you know, if you're not a terrorist, you got nothing to be afraid of. Basically the standalone complex where the original of an original work is unknown, so we can only make reference to the most recent preserved record of it, right? Yep. If you ain't hiding nothing, you got nothing to fear. I mean, that was legitimately used during that time to sell people on the idea that we should be digitally surveilled 24/7. And we are. As a result of the Patriot Act, we are constantly digitally surveilled. Our metadata is collated. And we, you know, like, willingly carry those tracking devices around in our pockets. Oh yeah, dude, there was some wild fucking shit said by Howard, like not just by Howard Stern, dude. In the wake of that bombing, dude, it was a wave of like anti-Arab kind of sentiment, anti-Muslim sentiment, just anti-immigrant sentiment in general went fucking through the roof. I mean, Americans were terrified. You know, a lot of us, when I say us, I mean, you know, us Gen X kids and stuff, we were raised in a post-Cold War kind of like world where America was King Dick and nobody could ever get, you know, an attack like that off the fucking ground in this country. And it happened. And, you know, the powers that be seized on that fear. Let's put it that way. And they used it to wring the last little bit of freedom out of all of us. And now we're all surveilled 24/7. And there's really nothing you can do to escape it, unless you want to just go live in the woods somewhere with no devices. You do that, I guess. They didn't turn a blind eye. They actively worked to subvert it. I mean, it's the government and its alphabet agencies and shit that wanted to collate and collect data on you in the first place. You used to have to get a special warrant for that shit. Now they don't. Still got to get surveilled every year when you go pay your taxes. I mean, yeah. There's census data. I mean, that's voluntary, but still. There's a number of ways they use to keep tabs on you and who you are and who you're with and all of that. But nothing like metadata. Now they know what you're buying, who you're talking to, who you're associating with, at what hours of the day, what's on your phone, what pictures, what websites do you go to. All of that is collated and blah, 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 right under your name. Anyway. I think I've done had enough. I think I've streamed my last for the night. And I feel a long break coming up. I've been, you know what, dude? I got 10K subscribers. I think I might need an old refreshing stream break for a couple weeks. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm starting it now. I'm just saying those of you that like to see me a lot, I might take a break here pretty soon and just fucking like chill the horse shit. Ooh. Anyway, I gotta go. It's too hot out here. See you later. Bye.